The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off-season, homie, check the numbers. Heartthrob in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast. Recording this Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. It is our yearly chat with our good Jewish friend here, Joshua Pressman Jacobs, the editor-in-chief of Josh Off the Press on Substack. Joshua, it's 1 year later, maybe a couple odd days after. We actually had to schedule last week, actually, and then I had to move it because of other things that came up last minute. So I was trying to keep the theme of the third year in a row to keep it in the same vein. I prefer to do the show more often with you, but obviously schedules is tough. You're a teacher, so the thing's a little bit tougher to lock you in, you know. But we're here as for the 3 year in a row. It's around the same time.
Yeah, you had to screw it up and not do it 3 in a row within a day apart. You know, this is actually 372-ish days after, instead of 364, 365, 366.
Yeah.
But who's counting?
Yeah. What's up, buddy? How's your summer going?
Oh, it's good, man. August is kind of like when I start to see the forest through the trees where, school's about to start again.
That's funny you said that.
Why?
Because mine starts in 4 days.
Does it? I have a friend. He's a
Monday.
teacher in Georgia. I think he already started. I have a friend who's a teacher in North Carolina. They start the 22nd. That seems a little more normal. But yeah, I think he started already.
Ooh, you know, that's early.
Well,
I thought we were early. I thought here in Florida we were early.
You kind of are, but if you want the thing is, I think with Florida, they actually want to match New York a little bit because you got a lot of summer camp kids that come up to the Catskills, New York from Florida. So
okay.
You know, everything comes down to the finances, to the money, man.
Yeah, I was actually saying, you know, this is the first summer since I've been a parent that I was actually kind of not depressed, but I was kind of a little sad that summer was ending because normally I'm jacked up, cool, kids back to school, we're back to our routine again, I get my alone time again and all that. But this summer has been very active for my children. This has been by far, in my opinion, the best summer I've had as a father in my 11 years of being a parent. Until 2 days ago, then oh yeah, you know what? Screw you guys, go back to school now.
So your kids are how old again? 7 and 5?
7 and 11.
Oh, you said, I'm sorry, I misheard you. You said
11 and 7.
That's what
yeah.
I thought you had yeah, that's right, because mine are 10 and 4.
I got a middle schooler and I got a second grader, sixth grader and a second grader. Yep.
So you and your wife don't plan to have more kids, do you?
No, we are done. We are beyond done. If you ask my wife if I have more kids, she will smack the shit out of you. She's over it.
It's funny because I was just on a texting thread with a couple college buddies, and there's 3 of them, but one of them spoke for them. We talk about one's about to get married, having kids or not, how it changed his lifestyle since he's a musician, and he likes the nightlife, and then talking about what is a more effective form of birth control, an abortion or a vasectomy. I don't want to go into further details.
Oh boy, that's a conversation.
It is. The V word feels very scary to me. So.
Oh yeah, I haven't got one yet. Still.
Yet, so you're thinking about it.
I mean, it's crossed my mind. Of course, I'm scared as shit to do it. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, you can call me a pussy. I'm good. I'm very much scared to do it. I don't do well with doctors. I mean, quite a lot. I get blood work every 3 months. And I hate needles. I'm used to it now, but I just hate needles. I still hate it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I heard a story of a guy. He once got one, and apparently it was either the right testicle or the left one, like grew to the size of a grapefruit. Not to not to try and convince you
Thank
not
you.
to do it.
And now I have a reason why I'm not getting one, ever getting one now. Thanks very much, Josh. I appreciate that. Jeez, man.
I think he turned out okay afterwards. It was just temporary discomfort and not exactly fitting into your pants, but you know.
Yeah, that's what they said. So my best friend, he's gotten one. He has 2 girls, lovely girls, and he got one. He said that it was not very invasive. It was very easy actually. You don't even feel anything. It's just that it's the discomfort really you go through in the first couple of days, but it's gone in 3 days.
Yeah, I can't believe we were. I don't think that was on the list of topics I sent to you that we should.
Who cares? This is what makes. But again, Josh, this is what makes this episode we do every year special. Is that we have a line by line atoms of things that we want to touch on, and we do touch on them. But at the same time, if the conversation goes left or right, hey, it's okay, no big deal. We'll do that.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And that's beautiful. You know what I mean? I think it's a great thing. You know.
So on the topic of summer and having your kids go to school, my younger daughter is going to start preschool. First year preschool is very exciting. 2 years ago, she was in daycare a few days a week, but this will be the first time she does 5 days in a row. So,
and is it 7 hours a day?
Yeah, 7 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah, life just gets busy for them. But so let me ask you though, because now you're saying how you're excited. You kind of were sad, but now you're ready for them to go. Does that slow down your productivity in the summertime, having them around so much, like, you know, being able to do podcasts and what have you?
No, actually, because they're a little bit older, if I ask them, because I think like if I tell them like, hey, listen, Dad's gonna record for 30 minutes. Can you survive without me for 30 minutes? They're fine. They'll play video games. They'll read a book. They'll, do what they do. They're pretty good about that actually. I've now found a way to work around that actually, to the point now where even if I record shows, even on a Sunday, for example, which is very rare, but I've been doing that lately. They will give me the grace to do that.
Nice.
I try not to book what I try to do really honestly, like if I have them in the house, for example, and I still do it once in a blue moon, but I try not to book guests when they're in the house. You know what I'm saying? So I try to do my solo shows around that time and leave the days when I'm free away from them open to having guests on the show. Because I do, as you know, I do multiple shows a week. I do, 2, 3, something 4, maybe 5, if and some weeks, depending on time of the year, a week.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man is going to replace Joe Rogan as the podcast king of the world.
Yeah, I got a lot to talk about, man. And the cool thing is that I have a lot of people who like to be on the show that love coming on this podcast. I'm so, dude, not to aim to brag, but I'm so blessed by that, man. Like people who love coming on here on a weekly basis. People who love coming on here every so often. People love, and because we talk about so many things in this podcast. I mean, yes, the foundation of sports, but it shares space for a lot. As you know, this you've been out 13 years in this ride. We talk about everything. We talk about politics, vasectomies.
You've had a podcast for 13 years.
This show is now, as I said, 13 years now. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. We launched this podcast in August of 2011.
You know what? I guess that kind of makes sense because the first podcast I listened to, I think, was 2007. Bill Simmons, when he's like, "This podcast is brought to you by Subway."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? You can actually find those old episodes on the BS Report on YouTube. Like there's a guy, there's actually an account on YouTube, and it's funny. The name of the account is Sil Bimmons. It's like Bill Simmons' name in reverse. Sil Bimmons, and he has all the episodes from 2007, 2015 when he left ESPN on that account. Every single one.
Wow. I gotta check it out. The one I want to revisit is the Bill Walton one. That was one of his first ones. I think it was right after David Halberstam died.
Right. Yeah. Rest in peace. I mean, what a character, man.
You saw that documentary on him?
No, is it on ESPN?
Yeah, it's like a 4-part series.
Oh, I have not seen that. I need to.
I
Thank you.
I didn't see it either yet. I read his book actually. That was kind of interesting, and I'm just like, well, is the book going to be the same in this series? You know what? I just finished, and I actually absolutely loved it. Even though I wish there was more written on it because I want Winning Time was fact checked. All these times and stuff, which is nuts to me.
You
I
mean
watched
Perman's book?
season
You
one.
mean Perman's book?
Yeah,
Oh,
season one. I watched season one of Winning Time, but not season two. Can you guess which show I'm talking about that I just finished?
on Max?
It was a Hulu special. It actually streams on Disney Plus now. It came out. It was like I don't know if I think they did 2 episodes the first week and then one a week, and it only ran for like 4 or 5 weeks.
On Hulu?
Yes,
The Bear?
they're like about to start season 4 of The Bear. Man, this is like a cousin to the Winning Time show, and this is like the black sheep brother of Winning Time team.
You gotta tell me because I don't know what it is.
Clipped.
Oh yes, Clipped by the Clippers.
Yeah, man. I thought I gave it away.
Is that worth watching?
Absolutely, dude. Oh my god, it was so good.
Okay, I need to add to the list. No. I know about the show.
I thought it was
never watched
excellent.
it,
I really enjoyed it. I remember following that story really closely in the 2014 playoffs, though. Also, like that was nuts.
I remember that.
I think that's when that was the year I first started to publicly write. I was using some kind of adjacent website to Deadspin. There was like a website called Kinja, Kinja.com.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I the first thing I wrote like publicly was a book review on a biography on Phil Jackson, Lord of the Rings. Peter Richmond, he wrote a book on the Oakland Raiders prior to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just came to mind. And this is actually when Facebook was still kind of cool. Like I was, sports for whatever. It wasn't like stuff got lost in the shuffle. But followed that story. And then Ramona Shelburne had a terrific podcast series on it, on the Clippers. And the crux of the show, like a lot of the material they got at the heart of it, was from Ramona Shelburne's podcast.
Okay.
And Lawrence Fishburne plays Doc Rivers, and you know who plays Donald Sterling?
I know. Tell me, remind me. I'm sorry.
Mr. Married with Children, Ed O'Neill.
That's right. Yeah. Yes.
I didn't realize that until like episode 3, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Ed O'Neill.
Yeah. No. And it's funny because like this year in general, I made a priority actually to start really getting back into content, watching content again, like TV shows I'm behind on 30 years. I covered on the podcast too. Like for example, I finally, after all these years, finished The Sopranos. Me and my wife. We finally finished that show.
When you mean finished it, like
I've started that show a few times in the past. Never finished. I got to season 2, season 3, and never continue from there. It had been about 10 to 12 years since I actually watched it again. And I told my wife because this year is the 25-year anniversary. We actually did a special episode on this feed on that with 2 friends of mine, 2 coworkers of mine. We did a whole draft of characters on there. We did that like a month and a half ago. So it's on the feed because the anniversary of the show is 25-year anniversary this year. And I can't
believe it's been 25 years.
Yes, so I made a point.
You mean the 20th anniversary when it first aired, right?
25 years since first aired, 1999. Yeah. So I made a point to watch the show this year, and we finally did it.
Ended in what, 2007?
Yeah, in 2007.
So 8-year run. Okay.
Yeah. So I made a point, and I told my wife that listen, I want to finish the show this year because I want to discuss the show in a special episode at some point this year, which we did, and we did like a character draft. Which is really good. So that's what we did. So we did that, and as I watched that show, I finally watched Cobra Kai. After all these years, it's actually the final season that started recently. They dropped the first 5 episodes of this final season. So we got caught up with the entire show, and then watched the first 5 episodes of this new season. What else did I watch recently?
Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai is the TV show spinoff of the Karate Kid.
Right. It's basically the continuation 30 years later. of the story. And it's really well done. It's very campy in parts, but it's really well done. So we have that. We have
wait. Let's break it down step by step. You're overwhelming me with this.
no problem.
You didn't feel the need to rewatch some of the old Sopranos since it's sort of like there was such a gap in your watching of that show.
What do you mean by that? You mean like I
Like
started
start
the show,
over.
I just start over.
Okay, so you
I
didn't.
had to because it's been so long. I had to. It's been so long. And then right now I'm watching The West Wing. Currently.
You're going way back, man. I feel like
So that show I never watched in real time. My wife did, but she never finished it either. And we actually started that show during COVID. So but we got to season 3 and then stopped. So I don't know why we just stopped. Distractions, or I don't know, it could be sports, it could be whatever. And then we never got back to it. So I told my wife, like, listen, I want to finish the show because my goal this year, and I have on my notepad a checklist of shows that I'm watching. Should have a notepad of like, okay, shows that her and I are watching together that we check off when we finish it, and shows that I'm watching on my own that she has no interest in watching. So West Wing is a show we're watching together. So we started over again recently. We just finished season 1. Let's start season 2, I think, on Monday. And we're committing to watching it. It's a long watch. It really is a long watch. It's 7 seasons, but it's 23 episodes, 40 minutes a clip. But I suspect we won't be done with the show until probably close to winter, honestly, because of our schedules. And then on my own, I'm watching Veep.
that's what. It shows like Veep. I figured House of Cards kind of replaced it. West Wing, like West Wing, you're like people hearing West Wing, and so some people. But how old you are, maybe never heard of that show. That's like going back to the 20th century.
West Wing came on 99 also, too. But West Wing is regarded one of the greatest shows of all time.
Still feels like a 20th century show.
It doesn't. Like, it feels like it. It really does.
Sopranos is more like a bridge show. Sopranos was like the bridge into like binge watching.
Yeah, correct.
Seems that way, you know?
You see the production improve year after year. The budget increases, obviously. Veep, another show I started a couple years ago, never finished. I got to season 1. That's it. So obviously with the whole Kamala Harris thing, especially to kind of, I'll admit I got nudged into that watching it again.
What's it called?
Veep.
And that's about her.
It's about Julianne Dreyfus, who's the vice president of the United States. It's focused on her and her staff. It's a comedy though. It's easy watch, 30 minutes long.
I remember.
10 episodes long, 10 episodes per season, 6-7 seasons. Pretty easy watch. I'm on season 3 right now, currently.
Did you watch that? I can't believe I'm not remember the name of the show. So why we got to start earlier, sir? The popular school show, based in Philadelphia.
Is it Abbott Elementary?
Yes. Thank you.
No, but I want to.
I saw season 1.
Is it good?
I don't know how many seasons. It's cool. I don't like the commercials so much. I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of like cotton candy. I try not to get sucked into shows. I actually find YouTube. You're the one that actually, I should thank you or maybe curse you for it. You're the one that actually got me to pay for a subscription for YouTube.
Premium? Isn't it worth it?
It is. And I got it for my dad too. And he's like, wow, YouTube really improved over the past few years. I'm like, it did improve. I just paid premium dollar for you to get it in a better way.
And the thing is, it's because pretty much 90% of my media consumption is on YouTube. My daily consumption, if I want to follow the shows I watch, but in bite size, as I told you in the past. If I listen to Bill Simmons now, I listen to Simmons in bite size. If I watch First Take, I watch it in bite size. If I watch all my political shows I enjoy, because I hate watching my political shows. I don't watch CNN and all those stations anymore. I may watch it in clips once in a while, but all my favorite political shows are actually on YouTube. Breaking Points, like I told you last year.
That used to be Hill Rising, right?
Well, they used to be on High Rising, and then they started their own company.
Okay, but it's those same guys, right?
Yes, Crystal and Sagar, yes, and Rising.
I saw like a clip, and it was Crystal and some other dude, and not
Crystal and Sagar. Crystal and Sagar, yeah.
Sagar. One day it wasn't Sagar. I'm like, what's going on?
It was probably one day. He's probably out. It was recently. He just got married, so I think Ryan was there.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats to him if he ever hears this. Don't sleep on the Young Turks, man. That's
I
like
love
way
them Turks.
back.
Oh no! I'm
They're the
there too.
original. They're
No.
like the original
I'm there
YouTube
too.
show.
I'm a
But
Young
it's
Turks
like they
fan all the
almost
time.
got forgotten. I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, oh my goodness, he got old.
I don't know how because they have 6 million subscribers now.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there's just so much content.
no, I'm back on the
out
wagon. There was a little period where I got a little tired of them for a little while, but I'm back on that wagon now. I love Anna. I think Anna's a very authentic voice for the left. I think she's not even a Democrat anymore. She's actually an independent. She's still a lefty, but she holds that side accountable across the board. So does Cenk, though, to his credit. I like that they are a authentic political show. They're not into the silos thing. They have conversations with people on the right. They were at the RNC and they had Charlie Kirk on the show.
nice.
They
We're dancing around the politics. Let's save the politics, discussing like politics and all that stuff to the end.
You sure? You want to go first?
I don't want to get into it.
You know what's funny? I'll let you drive the topics here. What topic?
I don't know about driving the topics. I'm just curious. I like the TV show talk. I guess in a way, I mean, maybe we should do I don't know, because it's almost like the politics. I don't want to just rant on and on or what have you and stuff. There's so much around that. But It's interesting you say that. Just talking about the shows. How do you like how Joe Rogan is back on YouTube though?
I think it's great. Was that something that in his new deal he made them?
I don't know, because apparently Bill Simmons' deal is up with Spotify, and they're talking about that. And I guess they were saying how they didn't let him make certain personnel moves. It makes me wonder if maybe that's why he never hired Jalen Rose, because Spotify's like, we don't have the budget.
Yeah, Spotify overpaid for a bunch of people. I think they've been in the red right now with the podcast thing, especially too. I know Bill Simmons sold the Ringer to, I think, Spotify, if I'm not mistaken. So technically, he doesn't even own the stuff anymore. He owns the rights to the show probably, but I don't know how that's going to work out. But the Rogan thing on YouTube, I know that came out of nowhere too. I remember going on YouTube and saying, "Oh, it's back." And not only that, I believe you can find Rogan's stuff on Apple Music still.
I think so. I think you're right. I was listening just the other day to only part of it, but Rogan interviewing Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
Jordan Peterson himself, a controversial lightning rod who seems to be derided by the left when I don't even think many people really know him,
What do you think about Jordan Peterson? First of all, I can't listen to him because he's too smart for me.
He's very pedantic, you know what I mean? Just like lectury, you can just talk your ears off. I couldn't get to the whole thing. But one glimmer I got from the episode that was kind of interesting is that Joe Rogan's a firm believer that psychedelics are what gave birth to civilization. All our great ideas came from that. And Joe Rogan thinks the 1960s war on drugs has been our ruin. And actually, we need to bring back psychedelics to help revitalize and make civilization flourish. And I mean, it's weird. The 60s is a long time, because I remember the 90s and like all my friends' parents were like children of the 60s and stuff. A popular magazine around in my high school was High Times magazine, and all this talk about it. And here we are 30 years later, and the world is just upside down. It's so strange. You have these, I guess, cannabis shops.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like there's all these cannabis shops all over New York like 3 years ago, and then they clamped down. And like all these cannabis shops got raided and stuff. It's like, what's going on? It's like so government regulated. It's weird how much stuff goes on though, like that we just can't keep track of.
Yeah. Rogan, again, I treat Rogan the same way I've been treating him for the last 5 years. If there's a guest on that I'm interested in, he'll get my attention for watching the entire episode. If it's not someone that I'm interested in, I'll look at the clips and see if the clips are interesting.
It's just so much. You know who? It's interesting saying that. You know what episode podcast I really enjoyed listening to recently was Bill Simmons and Derek Thompson discussing the future of everything.
I saw that clip. I got the clip of that episode actually on his YouTube page.
Oh, he talked about, Bill Simmons was talking about, I guess his son takes the driverless Uber. It's like
Does he really? Wow.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. A friend told me in New York she saw it where they're dropping off groceries and stuff, but she never saw a passenger in a car. but I
Right.
guess in Los Angeles, California, it's there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
that's nice stuff. But let's go back to shows that you said the list. I don't know why I'm kind of fixated on that, but what are the shows?
I've been prioritizing a lot of content like on a personal end. I want to watch a lot of shows, documentaries. I reviewed them all on this podcast. To be honest with you, Cobra Kai, like I said, another one. I caught up on The Boys, and I watched The Boys on Amazon. It's a very violent show. They actually is influenced by today's political, world. It's the anti-superhero show, if you call it.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's very, very gruesome though. I don't know if you can take gruesome or not. I don't know if that's your lane, but that it's really good. Good stuff. I like it a lot. My wife and I both love it. So I mean, other than that, what else am I watching these days? Said Veep, obviously. Said Veep, West Wing. Sopranos caught up on finally. A bunch of shows. I'm like, I have a list here, sitting here. I got a list sitting right here, of different shows I'm either watching or about to watch. Yeah, so that's it so far in 2024 that I've watched. Yeah, that's it so far.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I'll get the clipped. I'll get the clipped eventually.
That's cool.
I'll get this. That's on Hulu. I know it's on Hulu, so
that's cool. Do you go to the movies much at all?
Well, it's funny you said that. This past Monday was the first time I went to the movies in about a year and some odd months.
What'd you see?
Deadpool.
Oh, I saw it too.
Yeah, love it. It's funny, like the movies to me now, like I remember growing up as a kid, man, the movies were something you did almost every weekend, if not twice a week sometimes. So we go so common, and now the movies are one of those things where like, if I get to go once a year, it's a big deal. Like it turns into an event now. It's crazy.
You didn't take your sons to see Deadpool, did you?
Of course not. Come on, I'm a good father. Come on.
I mean, they could have easily cleaned up that movie.
They are too young for that stuff, man.
You're right. They easily could have cleaned up that movie though and made it.
Of course they could have, but that's not true to the character and true to the storyline of what Deadpool is. No.
I kind of would have wanted to see it. I thought it was a bit much. I mean, there were some parts that were like laugh my ass off funny.
Of course.
Other things, I'm just like, this is too much. It's ridiculous. I almost like two better. And believe it or not, I did see one of the theaters, and it's not a movie I can watch on TV.
Which one is that?
Deadpool.
Oh yeah, it's impossible. That movie, you can't sanitize that movie. You can't. It's not going to work. Okay. You just can't.
Well, there's other movies that they can make darker, like what's the movie? The Adam Sandler movie where he's the scout for the NBA and stuff.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, it was like last year. That was good. If they made it darker,
was that with Kevin Garnett? Was that Kevin Garnett in it?
No, that was dark. Uncut Gems. No,
I know. You had never seen that?
You never saw Uncut Gems?
No, never saw that one though.
Excellent movie. Excellent movie.
I need to see it.
You're making me look up the Adam Sandler basketball movie.
Okay.
Hustle came out in 2022.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they could have made that a little darker. It was like too Disney friendly. Uncut Gems was a good movie, worth seeing. I saw it when it was out. I saw it in like one of those theaters where they serve you a meal and stuff. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, but like there's a thing here in my theater near my house that they do $5 Tuesdays. So if you go to, obviously you all day $5, and for Tuesdays that's perfect for me because like, when the kids go to school next week, I actually have the entire morning myself. You know what I mean? Nice. So if I decide to go to the movies on a random Tuesday morning, which I love too, also going early in the morning, no one's there, it's the best. I might start doing that more as a habit, and probably doing that to stay abrupt on what's going on in the world, with movies. Because I've started to get the itch now to. I said for years that growing up I was a big movie guy, and as I got into my adulthood, that swapped. I'm more of a TV show guy than a movie guy. But I kind of miss movies now. I kind of miss seeing good movies. And I think going to the movies also as an event now, I enjoy it. I actually enjoy and appreciate it now because I don't go as often now. I appreciate it now. So like when I go in and get my popcorn and my Coke, which I shouldn't be drinking because I'm diabetic, but going and doing that, like, so the reason we went to Deadpool, well, my wife already saw it before I saw it, but this past Monday.
So your wife went before you went?
with her best friend because she wanted to go immediately, and she's a diehard Marvel person. But she, we went because it was our
let me
first.
just pause that. I would love for there to be like some kind of survey of Americans and how many wives saw Deadpool before their husbands.
It's not. I don't think it's a lot.
That's what I'm saying. That seemed kind of like an
there's a lot.
anomaly. She saw it before you, and then she saw it with you again. Like that's such a dude thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. But she's also a diehard Marvel, fanatic. So I get it. But the reason we did it is because it was our first date night we've done in a long time, probably about a year, maybe longer. And what we did was really cool is that my brother and his wife wanted to see the movie as well too. So what we did, and he has 2 kids as well. He has 2 daughters. So on Saturday, he brought my nieces over to my house for the night, and him and his wife went to the movies. They went to dinner and movies. All that, had a date night, and then we swapped on Monday. On Monday, I brought my boys to his house, and then he took my kids, and so my wife and I go have a date night. So we did a little bit of a hibachi, a little early dinner.
You picked a better night where you had less of a crowd.
Damn right, dude. No, there were literally 6 people in the theater.
I believe it.
Love it. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of my empty theater.
You don't ever take your boys to the movies?
I do. The last time I went to the movies was with them. We went to see Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ninja Turtles.
No, we did not see that actually in theaters.
That was a good one. That Ninja Turtle. I think.
Yes, I think I saw with them on TV, not theaters.
That was a good one.
No, you go to movies with the kids. If there's something worth seeing, we'll go. But they saw Inside Out recently, the second one. I couldn't go because I was at work. My wife took them to the movies.
Yeah,
but
that was a good one.
We do go to movies once in a while. When the opportunity presents itself, of course.
I want to take advantage of the opportunity. So I didn't take my girls to see The Little Mermaid.
You did?
New one. I did not. I tried to watch it on Disney Plus. I couldn't get into it. That was okay. But I literally was so hungry for a kids movie. I took my kids to see Garfield. It was terrible.
I need to see this. That's not good.
You know what? I can't say it was horrible. It's just that there's so few movies that come out nowadays, and it's like anything that seems remotely okay, I want to go see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I'm saying in particular for kids movies.
Yeah, definitely. What's what I'm talking about? You want to avoid politics to the end of the show?
No, yeah. You know what? I guess we can get into politics now. I might tap out a little early tonight. I feel like I'm becoming. I got these gray whiskers, man. I got to get my beauty sleep. But
So when we decided to book this podcast, Joe Biden was still the presumptive nominee.
Yes, he was. He was.
Right.
And
a lot's happened since then, huh?
Well, I wrote a story saying, he's going to drop out tonight. I was like 10 days premature. And when I predicted he would drop out on the Thursday night when he addressed like NATO, that Sunday, Donald Trump nearly lost his ear.
Yeah. We had the Biden debate gaffe. We've had Donald Trump nearly get murdered or murked, depending how the folks in the street say it.
Murked?
Joe Biden leave the race. Kamala Harris enter the race. And then so much has happened. You got Tim Walz now as the VP nominee for the party. Things have changed. I mean, I told you in June that I was, and to be fair, this wasn't me being reactive to the debate. I said, as far back as the midterms, that Joe Biden should not run for re-election because of the optics.
We actually had some conversations about what I thought about Biden last year.
Right.
And I just gave you a big sigh. I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Do you remember what it was? Do you remember what the gist of it was? It's been a little while.
I think the concern was just Trump actually getting the nominee again and having like a repeat of Biden versus Trump. And it was like, really, this is going to happen again? And it's like,
yep, it happened.
It felt well, almost not quite. I mean, I guess it did up until the beginning of the end of that was after the first debate.
I don't remember if like the podcast we did 2 years ago or the one last year where you were like so disenchanted with politics at that point. Was it last year or the year before that?
It probably was last year because 2 years ago we really just talked about the volume going down.
Yeah.
And also, it's almost as if you talk about like the evolution of things, like how, the West Wing seems like a show from the 20th century, from the 90s. Well,
Yeah.
Sopranos is like a bridge show that brought us into the 21st century. The first two episodes that I was on your podcast, I feel like it almost should be lost in the ether. Because the first time I did not have a babysitter for my kid. She was very young and it was like interrupted. And I feel like
Remember
the
that?
show got cut off short. And the second time, I was literally driving in my car. It was also late. It was raining and I was tired. So neither of them had video. And I think 2 years ago, I was on the back of my dad's porch.
Mm.
And forgive me for my vanity, but I think I was just so amazed at like looking at myself on the television that
Yeah.
I was just like as happy as a clown.
Yeah. The first pod we did actually was in 2017.
That's right. I
I
remember I was
just
questioning on that, but now you're right. It
my
was
7-year old was actually a what was he back at the time? He was like 5 months old.
yeah, you were like burping him. My daughter was
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
My daughter, my older daughter was 3, and I didn't have my second daughter yet.
Yeah. She's on 10
So
now, right? 10?
she's 10. Can you believe
Yeah.
that? That's really
Yeah.
weird. Going to fifth
Crazy,
grade.
right? God.
I know her
Time
mom.
flies.
Her mom, speaking of me being Jewish, her mom's not Jewish, and her mom's like, "Hey, we got to get Ava a bat mitzvah." I'm like, "What? It's happening in 3 years. It would happen in." I'm like,
Gosh. No, but yeah, and back then we weren't doing video, we're doing only audio, and this shows now the shows changed, obviously we're doing both. It's yeah, so the tenor of the conversation we've had in the last 3 years, you look at the podcast we did 2 years ago is still on the feed. And man, what a difference 2 years makes. I mean, hell, last year, what a difference a year makes.
well, last year I think I was just telling you a lot. We were talking about that book I read last summer, Generations, and you did a whole segment on it. It was very
I
cool.
did, yeah. It's on the clips on the YouTube page.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was really cool. That was really
Unfortunately, I
cool.
dropped the ball and never bought the book yet. I was trying to find it for free on at the library first, so you can find it. And then you know how things go with me. Like especially during the fall, football comes around. Next, basketball's back, and I'm worse for wear at that point. I'm off to the races. I
Yeah,
I need
I
I
could
need
talk basketball, the Olympic basketball. I guess we can get into that. But
yeah.
you were also talking about how you wanted to do a sports book club.
Well, a book club in general, not sports. Just book club in general.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I have not done. I have not come through that yet.
It's all right. Life happens sometimes.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it though. I'm going to. I think my problem. Number one, I'm ADHD. Let's just start there.
Or a polite way to say is you're just neurodivergent.
Probably. I mean,
Welcome to what feels like the majority of the U.S. population.
yeah, I need to. And I'm trying to, as I get older, simplify things, and that does include like it includes also the show and this kind of the schedule. Trying to figure things out and making time for. It's okay. You don't have to record all the time or 5 times a week. You can record once a week sometimes and whatever. I'm finding ways to get content out in a way, but not having to always be behind a mic all the time. Sometimes you take clips of the show and people digest the show like in smaller bite sizes. You know what I mean? I've started really utilizing that on my YouTube page the last year or so, really, especially. So
how do you find the balance between creating content and promoting your show though?
And that's the thing too. Also, I think sometimes when you're doing the show, you're so focused on the content itself that the other part of promoting it is just as, if not is as important as the content itself. And it's a lot more work actually for me to not edit the shows necessarily. I try not to edit anymore. As I told you earlier, I try to put out interesting clips of the shows and put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube, and by the way, TikTok's gotten much better now. They're now allowing up to 1 hour videos now on per video. So now it gives me more grace now to put out more content on their platform now. YouTube is my bread and butter. So I put it on there, and I get a lot of engagement now with that the clips I do. One part. Some of my left wing friends and my wife got pissed off at me because I had a conservative friend of mine on the show a few weeks ago, and I put a clip out about the This is when Kamala was officially brought into the race, and they didn't like the comments he was making because he's not a Trump guy, but he's a right wing, he's a Republican, and some things he was saying they were very much in disagreement with, and
I have to hear this one.
They thought I was not challenging enough to him in the discussions.
Your wife and your friend said that.
Yeah, my wife definitely said that to me. She was very, very disappointed in my performance, should I say?
Well, here's an informal poll I want to do, because the story that really jumped out to me that maybe is not making enough headlines, but the Trump team is breathing a sigh of relief that Tim Walz is the VP nominee.
Do you believe that, or do you think that's them just saying that to put out a we're good? Because Donald Trump has been in the last 3 weeks has sounded unhinged. Like I've actually given credit to Donald Trump for the last year and a half. I've credited Donald Trump for running a very, by his standards, stable campaign. Okay.
Well, yeah, his opponent was Biden. He just sat and watched Biden self-destruct.
Right. He's been. That's the word. Donald Trump, prior to Joe Biden leaving the race, has been very disciplined in his campaign
for Donald Trump standards.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you something: when you have a lead in the fourth quarter as a football team, mm-hmm. do you milk the clock and play prevent defense, or do you go for another score to go for the kill?
I think there's a way to do both. To still do both. I don't think you have to milk the clock, but I think you still play hard, because you never know what can happen.
Well, Tim Walz was a prevent defense choice.
You think so,
dude? Was he the best choice? Do you think he was?
That depends who you talk to. He was my choice. He was what I wanted.
He came out of nowhere. Minnesota's not a swing state.
Agreed. However, on policy, and when Kamala was entered into the race, and I saw the names that were being leaked out, I started doing a little bit deep dives on these individual guys. Now, I thought they'd pick Shapiro, to be honest, in Pennsylvania. Because of the strategy of winning Pennsylvania. Obviously.
I guess here's the, and we can get into him black and Indian woman with the Jewish guy, who I guess is looked at as the face of the pro-Israel movement and the whole debacle in Gaza. But I think when it came down to it is that picking Shapiro, the VP nominee, would outshine the presidential nominee. And that would be bad optics.
That is something to that. I know a lot of conservatives have been saying that. That's why she picked.
Not conservatives, just in general.
Right. And I look, I'm not going to say that's not the case. I just think ultimately the reason she didn't pick Shapiro is because there's a little more baggage there in terms of the ticket, because of the comments he made about pro-Palestine protesters or anything else. And I think they realize, especially in Michigan, especially in Wisconsin, especially in Pennsylvania, with the Arab American, population there.
What are you talking? He's so popular. Michigan, I'll get it. Pennsylvania, he's super duper popular. Wisconsin, people don't talk as much about the demographics of Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I know Michigan does have a very robust
Arab American.
Yeah. So I get it.
And I think the risk was you pick him. Now you have voters who are on the fence of helping, who don't want to vote for that ticket, because not vote for Trump, but voter apathy.
Well, the thing is, I'm a fan of Nate Silver. I love Nate Silver's Substack. He's someone
I do too.
Yes, and he says he thinks that was overblown. And Shapiro had tremendous upside, though. You know what I mean?
He does.
Tremendous upside. Tim Walz is the do no harm candidate. I'm scared that this is 2016 again. You know what I mean?
Tim Kaine?
Yeah. I mean, I hear Walz is better than Kaine, but still, it's like you got this rumpled dude who just seems like he's there, just happy to be there for the ride. Is that what we need?
Well, I think a lot of it too is he's rural America. He's born in Nebraska. He has some red leaning roots.
He lives in the nicest state in the world. It's like if you say hi neighbor to the right-wing guy in Minnesota, he'll give you the vote. You know what I mean? Like, is it that hard to win a competitive district in Minnesota?
I think the Democrats believe that his messaging will translate well in the 3 states they need to win this election: Michigan, Wisconsin,
Or
Pennsylvania.
maybe Kamala Harris just had no idea, threw her hands in the air, and listened to what Nancy Pelosi had to say. Since Nancy Pelosi,
oh, absolutely,
like, she has been the queen maker. Apparently, there's going to be a new book out on Nancy Pelosi. I'm kind of curious about. Although
I've already said if Kamala Harris wins the election in November, they have to thank Nancy Pelosi because she's the reason Joe Biden's gone, and she'd be the reason why Tim Walz in the race.
Yep, but also aside Tim, there's one other guy we haven't talked about. You know what I mean? Like Shapiro. I was on the Shapiro chain recently, and I feel very conflicted about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Very much so. You know, I haven't done my due research, but notable people across the Jewish community who are very scholarly in Jewish studies and know the history of Judaism say that Netanyahu is the worst Jewish leader in like 2,100 years.
Okay.
Like, wow. Netanyahu.
He's not popular in Israel. He's not very popular in Israel.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of parallels. Like what happened with Hamas killing 1,000 Israeli Jews. There's a lot of parallels to 9/11. Like, he was on his way out, and then 9/11 happened. If you remember 9/11, September 11, 2001, Bush was still a very unpopular president. The 2000 election was incredibly controversial. God knows what that would look like if something like that.
I mean, that was literally 6 months after the election.
I know. Yeah, 6 months. And then his approval rating went sky high.
Yeah.
And, we got bogged down in this war in Iraq. The war in Afghanistan didn't even wrap up until what? September 2021? I'm losing track of the year. Was it 2023? 2022? I think it had to be
2022.
Yeah, I think so. Because 2021, we were still just coming out of COVID.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff there. But
let me look it up. Keep talking.
Okay, anyway, but the thing is, who I thought at first, and you haven't mentioned him yet, but come on, man, the astronaut from Arizona, that's a swing.
Oh, Mark Kelly.
Yeah, come on. He would have been a great pick. It wasn't Shapiro. I think it should have been Kelly.
Where the problem with that is, and here is the problem with the Kelly thing. If Kelly, let's have the Democrats win the election, that seat now becomes up for grabs, and there's a very good chance a Republican will take that seat, so that it will leave the Senate vulnerable.
Yep,
that was the calculation I think they made on that one also.
So you like the Tim Walz?
I do, on policy, yes. Because at the end of the day, it's about,
I do like
policy.
He's pro-union. I have things in common with him. He was a history teacher like I am.
Yeah. And by the way, I was right the first time. It is 2021. August 30th, 2021. On the screen. See that?
Look at that, dude. You're the man.
Yeah.
You're the man. You should open up the story I most recently wrote.
Oh, I could do that now. Yeah, I'm going to have a second. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, it was August 30th, 2021.
I didn't realize it was September 2021. The imagery right there of it, because you had the Afghanis jumping on the plane the way Americans were jumping out the World Trade Center, like just trying to survive, and that was like a suicide mission right there. Yeah, I didn't realize it was 2021, but you were correct, sir.
That's right. I thought 2022. Actually, honestly, I didn't think it was that early, but oh well.
Yeah, but, that's all right.
Time flies, doesn't it? Good Lord.
It seems like we're kind of in like. I mean, I feel like it's like time definitely has sped up. There's no way it hasn't.
It's very shocking how fast time goes in this. I feel like COVID. To think that COVID was literally 4 years ago, it's insanity to me.
You know what? I was thinking that. I was just like, man, like it's like are people finally like fully over it where we could pretend it didn't happen anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So you're not a fan of the pick?
I hear different things. I understand the logic, and Tim Walz does seem like a good dude.
On policy, he's great.
Well, from this, I don't. My writing process is it's sort of like something comes up and it's just like I need to write it. I need to write about it. I wrote a story the night before Tim Walz was picked, saying I'm almost positive Walz is going to be the guy. I'm disappointed it's not Shapiro, and I literally wrote that at 1 a.m. to be published at 7 a.m. And this evening, just before I was talking to you, I wrote the story about Tim Walz. America, yeah, you have it right there. America has now been introduced to the event. I don't even know how to say the word.
Avuncular rumpled white man.
Yeah, the avuncular rumpled white man. I sent it to a buddy of mine that I was in the Peace Corps with from Ohio. He's like, that Midwestern charm. And I'm like, wow, you like it? I actually thought that was kind of a pejorative title that's not really that flattering of him. But
wait, on your blog, avuncular means maternal uncle.
Yeah, I put the definition down for avuncular. I figured that because I'm like, you know what? I literally didn't make that up. I got that from a Politico post, and I wrote it on there. It says the title of this post was generously borrowed from a Politico.com story about the type of vice presidential running mate Harris wanted as she seeks to break the highest glass ceiling in American politics. And here's the quote. When Harris's top aides at the time privately mused about their kind of partner, they wanted to see on the ticket they spoke about an avuncular and at times rumpled white man with broad appeal across the industrial Midwest. And I put down the definition of avuncular. I can't even say it.
Avuncular.
Yeah, kind of like the
avuncular.
Avuncular. It describes uncles from either side of the family, like the lovable uncle, the paternal uncle, and then rumple is people know rumple, but I put that become crease. So look at that, I have that there. That's what Harris was looking for. Does that? I don't feel like that's exactly flattering.
It looks a little. Again, it's identity. This is the problem with Democrats. They play identity politics.
That's my point. So, like reading that, does that make you feel as good about the Tim Walz pick?
Well, what makes me feel about the pick is more about his policy. What he's doing in Minnesota, in a state that's still a lean blue, but still a lot of red pockets.
On the flip side, for me not to sound like that, I did stories I heard about him. The one thing that I thought was really cool that was apparently after the Parkland shooting, his daughter was a teenager at the time, and she went to him and she said, listen, this is guns that are killing people. And at the time, prior to that shooting, he had 100% approval rating from the NRA. He's now at 15%. So he is someone that evolves and is understanding and definitely is thoughtful and does have this certain likableness about him. And that's cool. And that's well and good. But does he appeal to America? Like some people say, the VP doesn't really make a difference on the national ticket.
I think if VP can hurt, I think VP can actually, if anything, hurt a ticket, not help it.
Well, I guess that's what happened with Sarah Palin in 2008.
And Trump, and right now, Trump currently, if you believe Trump and JD Vance is the most unpopular VP pick in history.
I think the Vance thing is a little bit overblown, to be honest with you.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I don't know if people are really paying that much attention. You know what I mean? He's like a Midwestern. He's a little young. Okay. The Midwestern white guy. You know what I mean? I think Palin is still worse because she was like this weird white lady from Alaska. And it's like, what? A woman?
She's also not very smart. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah,
she's not very smart.
Vance, it's like, Vance, you actually have to work to pick on. Someone said, Wells seems like, or they were saying that Shapiro would have been a better matchup against Vance because Shapiro actually seemed like a lawyer at a top firm, while Vance sounds like he's still in law school. Well, you got to be pretty bright to be in law school. You know what I mean? Like he looks young. Yeah, I think his views are out of step with the mainstream. I think he was an excellent pick for Trump when Biden was still the nominee, because next to Biden, he looked so young.
That's why he did it. That's why he did it.
Exactly.
By the way, that wasn't even his pick. That was Trump Jr.'s preference.
No, I know that, but now it seems as if with the Wells pick and stuff, here, I guess this is not a I'm proud of advertising, but sometimes I like to hang out in the cigar lounge in my neighborhood, and this is a place where a lot of retired cops go. It's almost like a little Republican club, and I'm like, I guess I'm the token liberal there. And they were all like, "Yo, like, why Harris screwed up? Why would she pick Wells? She could have picked Shapiro. He was way more threatening to Trump winning election than this guy right here." You know, but then again, Shapiro would have outshined Harris, which goes back to the point. People are like, why wasn't there an open convention? But which goes back to the point. Why didn't Biden drop out sooner? It all attaches together.
Which is what I wanted in the first place. I want an open convention. That's what I wanted. That's the most Democrat thing in the world you can do.
But so, and I wrote about this. The problem was Biden dropping out so late. He still had this war chest of money. And the only person that can inherit that money is his VP.
Oh, no, I agree. I said the prudent choice was to give the Kamala and then run with that. I've always said
the only reason why was because the time ran out.
Right.
That was the reason why. And also, you didn't want a party insurrection. You know, she had a tremendous bounce. This race is very competitive now. You're right. Trump does seem a little bit.
She's actually leading it now in a lot of polls.
He's losing his grip. I mean, the thing is, do we want this man to self-destruct to ensure that Harris wins? Because if he doesn't self-destruct, this is still going to be an incredibly close election.
Oh, I expect it to be a close election, to be honest with you. I don't think. Look, Kamala Harris right now is riding a honeymoon right now. She hasn't done any interviews yet. She hasn't sat down, done anything. She hasn't introduced her policy ideas for her administration. So right now we're going through a honeymoon stage right now. That being said, the polling I saw prior to Biden being knocked out, we talked about like as much as like 6 months ago, was that generic Democratic candidate beats Trump by 5 points. Okay, that's what the polling was. What we're seeing so far in the polling is that seems to be correct. That the problem was Joe Biden. The problem was he's just too old. Even if you agree with everything he does and believe he has done a great job, you know, the same people still believe he is just too old. And the debate, for me, not for me, it didn't do this for me. For me, it only reaffirmed what I was been saying for 18 months. For folks who may be on the fence about that, they see that like, oh, we can't do this. This is not good. And if you're telling me Donald Trump is threatening democracy, and if he gets in office, we're not gonna have we won't have a democracy anymore. And then your last line of defense is that guy. That's a problem.
Do you think Trump getting reelected would be the end of our democracy?
There's a lot of fear factoring in this too. Democrats do this is the problem, and I'm not saying Democrats are wrong. I'm not saying people who have those fears are saying that are wrong. But this is not the first time we've heard this before. I heard this with Mitt Romney crying out loud. Like, at some point, the words have to matter. Again, not saying that Trump is a threat to democracy, but when you keep using that same point over and over and over and over again, at some point people get numb to it. It's like, okay, you've heard it before. Okay, now.
Well, that's why they apparently they turned the tune where they're saying you're tuning out independents and moderates that are going to essentially decide this election. They're tired of threat to democracy, capital insurrection. They don't want to hear about it anymore. But now they've gone with the mantra, oh, those guys just seem weird. Apparently in the 2012 election, Axelrod said if you call Romney and his team weird, you're going to get fired. So it's amazing how much things have changed in 12 years because this whole weird thing is like all of a sudden.
Because decorum was different back then to 2012. Even though Obama was polarizing some people, the decorum between Romney and Obama, like if Romney won that election, and by the way, I like Mitt Romney. If he had won that election, okay, I get it. Different direction. Mitt Romney is not a threat. Mitt Romney is a typical Republican, although I will say on healthcare he's pretty progressive in comparison to a lot of other Democrats. Look what he did in Boston, in Massachusetts, rather.
Well, who knows what he would have done as president if he would have implemented that? I mean,
yeah.
You don't know. Like he didn't know what he said. I mean, that's what they say about Trump. On one front, Trump is the biggest liar, but in other ways, he's pretty honest about how much he lies.
Yeah.
So
is he lying? Yeah.
Yeah, but also, but if you really think about it, people are saying if you ignored all the boisterousness of Trump, he's actually a typical Republican too. You just got to put the volume down on him.
Yeah, and actually, there's some truth to that, though. He's not no different than any other Republican in the past, really. The thing with Trump that's always scared me or bothered me was the people around him that he's empowered. The Steve Bannons and the Stephen Millers and those guys. That was what, to be honest with you, the reason why I was so apt to vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016 is not because I like Hillary Clinton. I can't stand Hillary Clinton. It's because the fact that Steve Bannon was at one point was the strategist of that campaign, of the Trump campaign. No,
Yeah.
You know his history. You know exactly why you want to be involved with him.
Let me ask you, what do you know about Project 2025?
I know that's definitely, if you are someone that's pro freedom, that's a problem. I mean, even if you were to believe that Trump, I think the threat of it enough is scary enough. And Trump is distances himself from it. The fact of the matter is, the people who are involved in that whole project are people who have worked under his campaign in the past. People who he associates himself with. His vice president is literally is actually one of the architects of that whole thing. So again, you can sit and say that, yeah, I'm not part of that, it's not my thing, but your ecosystem says differently.
True.
So I think that to be a threat enough to say, don't vote for the guy. Just even if you don't believe it's going to happen, I wouldn't want to risk that even being the option.
Can you take? Do you think part of Florida could be painted blue again in 2024?
9 times soon for this election? Hell no.
No.
Hell no. I've heard some reports that maybe it's a shot. No, I don't see it happening.
So you think Texas would go blue before Florida?
I didn't say that. No. The trends are showing that way because remember, Florida's going the other way now. Like both states are going different directions right now in terms of the political landscape. Like Texas is growing closer to a purple state. It's not there yet, but it's getting close. I mean, the numbers in these elections are closer than they have been in a number of decades. Florida, however, is going the other direction, though.
I heard there's a new dialect in Miami.
What is it called?
It's some kind of hybrid between English and Cuban Spanish. That Miami has become so heavily influenced by Cuba that you have people that have grown up there from a young age that they speak this kind of Cuban Spanglish.
That's news to me.
It's like a new dialect.
I mean, I was raised in Miami, but I haven't lived there since 1998, so it's been a long time. Been a very long time. But Florida, like Miami went red for the governor's race in 2022. DeSantis killed it. He actually won that county, and that's a blue county.
Are you surprised DeSantis flamed out as bad as he did for the?
Nope, no. Because his messaging does not play well to a national audience.
Why does it play well in Florida?
It play well in Florida only because of COVID. Because Democrats during COVID overstepped their hand. The reason, if people forget, the reason DeSantis won in the numbers he did in Florida is because not only did Republicans come out for him or independents, even Democrats came out for
because he wanted to keep society open in Florida.
Right. And at the end of the day, common sense always wins.
That's how you see it? Common sense always wins?
I just think when it comes to basic common sense and it comes down to, okay, listen, I get, the risk reward factor, but meantime, my business is falling apart now. I need to keep working.
But you saw COVID impact different states differently. Like New York was slower to up and up than Georgia, for example.
Yeah, but again, you can also play the other way too. Also, doctors and hospitals playing up those numbers more than it really was. I'm not saying there's been some things in the past that have been said where like people just would throw any death and maybe on COVID, so those numbers are a little bit inflated.
Or do you think a number of the deaths that people said they died from COVID, you think it
I
was
think
something else?
I wouldn't. I'm saying it would not surprise
No,
me. It wouldn't surprise me that some of those deaths were not necessarily COVID related, but but they put it as COVID just to drive a point home. I mean, again, we're talking about politics here. People have agendas. Don't the left is just as susceptible as the right on that stuff.
Oh, everyone's just, you talk to people, you talk to both sides. Some people I talk to, they think the left is like the devil reincarnated.
Yeah, which is crazy. But
yeah, it's. I mean, the world is crazy right now.
The world is really nuts. So how do you feel right now about the race now? We have the DNC coming up in a couple of weeks. Obviously, we'll probably get the Harris agenda.
I mean, I hear Walz is a better. I was calling him Walz. Forgive me, Walz. I mean, here's a good campaigner, so he'll be better than Kane. I mean, I'm warming up to it. I just think it was surprising that because the betting, people usually follow most closely like who's going to win the betting markets, like who can literally bet on the races, and it was like for the longest time Shapiro was like the 2-1 favorite, and then all of a sudden like the numbers flipped. Like when I went to bed Monday night, I looked at the numbers and it said like 63 to 40 in Walz's favor against Shapiro, and then everyone else like drew like under 20. And then the next morning it said Walz 99, Shapiro won. Because there's another story saying don't sleep on Shapiro. Paris still might pick Shapiro.
That's crazy though. I'm wondering if gambling's here in Florida is now sports betting is actually a thing now in Florida. I'm wondering. I'm trying to find out if like you can bet on the election on anywhere here. I don't see.
Are you gonna be betting football in Florida now?
Oh, I've been doing it.
How do you do it?
We did it last year. We did. I did that end of last year when they got legalized officially. I did horribly.
You did horribly? Why?
Yeah, I did horribly because I suck. Because again, I do parlays, and parlays are a lot more riskier because you got to hit all the legs. Yeah. So do you feel good about Kamala's chances of winning this election still, despite the pick?
I mean, I think Trump is definitely a major liability. I mean, if he wins, he will be the oldest president ever.
Yeah, like he cares.
Like at the end of his second term, though, you know what I mean? Like he's now the age guy and stuff. And JD Vance, he does seem. I mean, who knows with him? I mean. I was talking to someone about when you were saying it, kind of like saying this is the end of democracy. Yeah, Trump winning, I don't think will be good. But at the same time, it's like, you're right. Democrats sometimes overplay their hand. The end of democracy. It's like
at some point, you have to kind of like, okay, at some point you have to prove it.
Well, I mean, I used to pay more attention to human climate change. I guess once you have kids and you're too concerned about future generations, you don't want to pay as much attention to it because it's a little bit scary. But right. I read something that was saying how that if like the Atlantic Ocean stream system collapses, it literally Europe might turn into Arctic Circle.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I know you get a little tired there. Let's run through some of these topics so we can get you to bed.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have the same.
It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
I should have probably taken the mid-evening nap that I.
Well, to be fair, you also have 2 kids, so I get it. I totally sympathize with you on this one, definitely. And plus, I gotta tomorrow. I'm taking my kids to Disney World for.
Are you really?
Yeah, to end the summer. So.
How long are you gonna stay there? Is it just a day trip?
It's a day trip. It's a 2.5 hour drive and back home same night.
What time are you gonna leave tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we got an open house on my son, one of my kids tomorrow in the morning, and then after we're done with that, we'll go straight to Orlando.
So you're gonna make it there. I guess it helps. It's Tuesday afternoon, but August is always the busiest in Orlando.
Yeah, I really don't want to go honestly because it's too fucking hot.
It's interesting though because I remember as a family we would plan trips to be there for days, and to you 2.5 hours away, it's like going to like Hershey Park to you.
Yeah, my wife goes almost every month.
Does she really?
Yeah, we're annual pass holders, so she goes all the time. She
just brings the boys.
Sometimes, but she goes a lot of times goes on girls trips and stuff to get away. Yeah, that's like her. That's
so cool.
That's like her safe place.
You make it seem like Florida is just the place to be, just because Disney World's right there. I mean,
it has its moments. She hates Florida though. She's trying to get out of here so bad.
Really? Where would you guys move?
We're considering leaving in a couple of years to go to Charlotte, to North Carolina. That's the place that we all prefer. My family's moving there now. My brother's moved there recently. This last week. My sister's looking to move there in a couple of years, probably 2, and my dad might do the same, and then we may actually follow suit. My cousin's right there too. On top of that, I have friends actually in the area too, so it won't be hard for me to sell in.
Do you start going to some Charlotte Hornets basketball games?
Yeah, go Heat. Still, it's always go Heat.
You know, I was in Miami over February break. I know it's a little bit far away from you,
You didn't
and
tell
I was
me.
like, I felt like I was only there like 3 nights, but I wanted to go to a Miami Heat basketball game, and it was the All-Star break.
Oh,
like,
he picked the wrong weekend to go there. Oh man,
but that's what my February break was. I know, it was like such a bummer. I'm like, it would have been so cool because a few years before I went to New Orleans, I went to a New Orleans Pelicans game.
what part of Miami did you go to? What part of Miami did you go to?
I was like right there on the Strip, South Beach.
Okay, like I'm probably about an hour and a half from there, so it's not terrible. You know?
Yeah, but that was a fun trip. It was. I mean, it would have been cool to go to a Miami Heat game because tickets are cheaper. Like, what do you think of that? See me wearing my Knicks hat. How the Knicks infiltrated Philly.
That was crazy in the playoffs. That was nuts. Yo, this team is
But isn't that weird? The Sixers, Philly is supposed to be diehard sports fans.
That's the surprising part. Like I expected Miami because there's a lot of New York, people from New York who retired down here and there's no Knicks fans. That's expected, but in Philadelphia, that's a little shocking. That was a little shocking. I have to admit.
You know what? Maybe the flip side is they're tired of Embiid. They knew the team sucked, and people wanted to sell their praise. They wanted to sell their tickets on a markup.
Why people tired of Embiid? Embiid's a great player. I mean,
he's like a black hole.
I don't know.
Like, if he's the featured guy, sure. And there's only one other scorer. They say this whole thing with Maxey and Paul George might not work.
There's definitely risk reward factor. Number one, health. Is Paul George going to be healthy? Let's start there.
Is Embiid going to be healthy? Because that's like actually Anthony Davis would be a better fit because they should have emotional offense when you have that many scorers.
That's why as good as Embiid is, I will still keep Bam here in Miami because Bam shows up every week, every game. He's always available. So, and that matters. Availability has to matter first and foremost. Embiid
for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson's first captain of the Knicks in 6 years.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Deserves
That's really cool.
Deserves it, man. The guy's incredible. I mean, he was in my top 3 MVP rankings last year. So I thought it should have been him. I thought it should have been between who won it? Was it Jokic won it? I had SGA, Jokic, and Brunson in my top 3.
Oh, you thought SGA should have won?
I had SGA won. I had SGA by a smidge.
He's like 6'4", right?
Yeah, around there, 6'4", 6'5". Love his game though. Great game. Your Knicks though, real quick. How you feel about next year? I mean, teams looks pretty good. You got Brunson. I mean,
well,
you signed an LB.
I heard the story is that Julius Randle going to sign a team friendly contract? What's he going to demand, or is he going to just get shipped out?
Yeah, they said that he's committed to staying and he wants to stay in New York.
Yeah, everyone says
they all
the
say
time.
that, man. They all say that shit though. I mean, come on.
How do you like your guy Tua in Miami getting that big ass contract?
I'm a Giants fan. We talking about Tua. I mean, I don't mind the Dolphins, but I'm a Giants fan first, man. Come on now.
The Dolphins seem more interesting than the Giants now. What are the Giants?
Agree.
The Giants are like the G League of that.
They had no choice, man. They had no choice with Tua. They had to resign him.
You always hear that all the time. People outside of sports think this so far, and it's like you have no choice to spend all this money on somebody.
Yeah, well, I think they made a calculation that if you don't lock him up now, that $50 million a year is in turn of $60 million.
Oh, let's sign off with let's just kind of have you seen that meme saying which sportscasters' mics would you want to mute?
Well, it depends on what sportscaster.
Well, the thing is, the two that seemed like they were top 2. Number 1 was Jason Woodlock. Everybody wanted to mute him.
Yeah.
Number 2, which was a little bit far behind, was actually Nick Wright.
I love Nick Wright, so Whitlock's the answer. However, I don't hate Whitlock. Everybody else does. Whitlock's annoying as hell, and some of his takes are just gruesome and disgusting. But then every once in a while, he'll have a take that's like, that makes kind of sense, I guess.
Do you personally know Bomani Jones?
Yeah, I do. Big fan of Bomani Jones.
Are you like neighbors with him?
No, well, I mean, he was in Miami for a little while, and he's in New York now.
Is he? What's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing his own. Well, he's not on ESPN anymore.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He has his own podcast.
Oh.
The rights, he has the rights to his podcast. He has his show he's doing. Still same show. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You're big. I don't know how you keep up with all the content.
Well, Bomani's one of my favorites because Bomani I've been following since. Dude, I've been Bomani guys since 2003. Like his music takes were what got me into him in the first place.
Let me ask you, what do you think of the Kendrick Drake beef?
I touched on this podcast in the past already. There's nothing to say about it. Kendrick dominated him. I mean, that's he dominated that beef. That's not even that's simple.
So who sings your intro song
on the show?
Yeah.
That's funny. It's the second person in a row that's actually mentioned that on the show. Yesterday, I had a show yesterday, and one of my guests said the same thing too. GW Gross, G Stelio, who he used to be a regular in this podcast. He does no longer involve in podcasting. We still talk all the time though, him and I.
He doesn't want to be on your show no more?
No, he doesn't do any podcasting anymore at all. He stopped doing it. He's not into this anymore, the content creating anymore. He's just
But he can just come on as a guest like I do.
Yeah, dude, the door's always open for him to come on the show. Like I told him like a month ago, like whenever you want to come to the podcast, I don't give a damn what day it is. You let me know, I'll make time for you. Like when this show was initially a weekly like radio show-ish type of thing, he was my co-host.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was great. I love it. He was great. He's great. He's great. We were really good friends. And we still talk, even though he hasn't been on social media in like 3 years. He hasn't done any of this podcast in 3 years. He's been off. I don't know. He just got tired of it all. He got tired of it all. He's just sick of it. It stopped. Just one day, just stopped doing it. And
do you blame him?
Do I blame him? I don't blame him at all. Everybody's going through something, man. I'm not gonna judge it. Like if his mental health was at risk, I'm assuming that's what it was. I'm not going to judge for it. I think he did the right thing for himself.
Well, it's just interesting you say that because I feel like my writing has improved, but my social media output has greatly diminished.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of one of those funny kind of things, though, and stuff. You know what I mean? Because obviously, it's always nice to have more people read your stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
I get it. Like the thing is with me is that I think for me, it's been easier to navigate those waters on social media because I don't get into the bullshit. And you control the environment that you create for yourself. Like people make a big deal about that. Like, social media is bad. Then mute the people. If you see certain accounts that are consistently putting out stuff that trigger you in mental health, mute them or block them.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? You control your environment, dude.
Yeah, because I posted this last story in some political group, and some guy wrote it was actually kind of a funny picture. It wasn't at me. I was kind of like hurt by it at first. I'm just like, what the hell? The guy's like, yeah, you just want more subscribers. No, thank you. I'm just like, damn, dude. Yeah. It's like you could have just ignored that. You really had to take the time out to write that crap. But at the same time, he is kind of pushing it up a little bit. So you know what I mean? Yeah. There's trade-offs.
Yeah, there are trade-offs. Are you watching the Olympics?
I mean, I've been following the NBA. I watch the highlights of the men's basketball team and stuff. You hear the big thing. Simone Biles got all these medals. The last one she got.
She's amazing, isn't she?
She's absolutely amazing. But I always loved the Olympics men's basketball team. The NBA is the sport I follow the most closely.
Me too.
Really? You seem a big NFL guy, though.
But because the NFL is more so structured in a way where it's it's an event sport, like it's week to week. So you have time away for a couple of days and you get back to it again. You reconvene, you get away from it and come back again. The NBA it's consistent. It's like, okay, you're a Knicks fan. There's the Knicks games 4 times a week at least. Or 3 times a week.
They call it an inventory sport.
Say it again?
I think who made that up? Colin Cowherd, he said, yeah, basketball's like an inventory sport. And him and Nick Wright sometimes have an argument saying that the NFL is making a mistake wanting to add an additional week, an 18th game, because they might turn themselves into an inventory sport. If it's too readily available, people aren't going to care as much.
That's true. And there's something to that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I don't think 18 will kill it, though. If anything, the only reason why I'm okay with 18 is because at least I get 500 back again.
It's what?
At least I get 500 back again. No more. I get 8 and 8 back. I at least get 99.
Yeah, but this is not healthy for the players.
No. No. I'm not saying I'm for 18 games. I wasn't even for 17 games. Crying out loud. I'm just saying that if you're gonna go 18, at least I get the I get
like
500
the even
back.
number.
Yeah. I miss 8 and 8. I miss that.
Did you watch the Patriots Dynasty documentary?
On where? Because it depends which one. I've seen a few
It's
of those.
on Apple TV.
Is it new?
The one that was essentially, they say it was kind of hagiography for Robert Kraft.
I did not see that. I need to see that. I've seen a couple of these Patriot-related stuff through the years, but I don't know if that was one I saw or not. I'll mark it down. Thank you.
You're welcome. You don't listen to Colin Cowherd as much anymore, do you?
Most of his podcasts, to be honest with you.
Okay,
and in bite size.
How about Bill Simmons?
Same thing, bite size.
Because those guys talk about it all the time. Bill Simmons and like Colin Cowherd. Those are my
brother.
go-to.
I gotta tell you, the last month, dude. I listened to very little sports content last month because I've been politics has been the politics has been.
If you look at my Substack page, literally during the height of the NBA playoffs, I wrote like 8 straight NBA stories.
I remember that.
And I had stories drafted I was ready to publish, and then everything popped off after the debate like a powder keg, and now it's like pivoted completely to politics. And it's like some of these stories are on ice, and I might have to kind of edit some of them to make them fit, but maybe just a roll out for the new season. But that might not happen until, even though the new season will start end October. I might not be.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? I was about to say maybe December I'll start writing more about basketball. It's like, wait a minute, with this politics stuff going on and stuff,
Yeah. You excited about Bronny James next year?
I wrote a story. I totally pivoting. I was very proud of the story. I wrote a story saying how Kamala Harris is going to be like Ty Lue of the 2016 Cavaliers.
Oh no!
Because she's replacing the head coach right in the middle.
Right.
Before the Tim Walz thing, I was riding high. I was on the sugar high with Kamala Harris, and then she made a pick, and it's like, I think Nate Silver said he called it like a chess move. It wasn't like a strategic error, but it was like not the optimum move. And it's like, I agree, and it's like, oh, you like your first big decision, and you picked a lukewarm one, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, shit happens. We'll see if it actually affects anything in the future. We'll see that on that. One last thing, what you got here. Caitlin Reese and Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese.
Oh man, I have a friend who white girl was a really awesome basketball player in high school in Colorado, and she like had a falling out with her coach and stopped playing. And every time I see Caitlin Clark, I think of her, and I have to call her up and be like, "Yo, what do you think? Was this gonna be you?" You know what I mean? I think Caitlin Clark is a phenom. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you like that. Caitlin Clark is such a phenom. The WNBA players are way underpaid. Something's going to happen. Something's going to get pop off there.
No. I think Caitlin Clark's going to be the reason that happens.
You're right, but I think Angel Reese is a master marketer. She was very smart to attach herself. Yeah, she was, but also I think it got her hyped up. Do you really think that she'd be averaging a double-double every game if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark? It kind of gave her that extra fire to make her, make her the difference maker. Those records, you know what I mean? You need that kind of adversary. A rising tide raises all boats. I don't think so. If there was no Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese would be just another WNBA player.
It definitely feels like a WWE kind of storyline with this one.
What do you think of the comparison, Magic and Bird?
I mean, other than the fact that one's white, one's black. I mean, come on, it's no. I'm not there for that one.
You're not there.
No, I'm not there with that one. That's too easy. No, I'm good.
I mean, gimmicky.
I guess. I mean, look. If they meet in the finals next year or two, maybe I'll buy on that one.
But look at that. We're talking WNBA, and we're talking about both of them, and we never did before. The same thing happened with Bird and Magic.
Have you been watching it, though? Are you watching the games?
I follow the storylines. I read the stories. You know what I do? I I keep my cable TV for the NBA playoffs, and then I turn it off. Because for football, I can just find a place to watch football on Sundays. Like you said, it's just an event. It's not like an inventory.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if one of my kids gets really into the WNBA, I would start watching it more with them. But they're still like into cartoons and stuff.
Yeah. So they're on break till August 14th. So trade deadline's on 20th. I just realized there's no games. I realized it's because of the Olympics. So there's still games coming back in.
Well, the women's basketball Olympics is boring. They're just steamrolling everybody.
They're just mollywopping everybody.
But the thing is, the men's Olympics is getting kind of interesting. South Sudan felt like they were robbed by Serbia, as if the powers that be are trying to make sure that Jokic stays on as long as possible.
By the way, LeBron James still face the league.
He is.
Dude's incredible.
Did you see that video? There was this really funny video on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up, and it was showing how Obama was introducing the men's basketball team, and he's like dabbing up Steph Curry and LeBron James, and then he just goes up to Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr and just shakes his hand.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, this is a Key and Peele skit.
Yep, remember that? Yes.
That was really funny.
You can't script any better, buddy. You can't.
Huh?
You can't script that any better. Yeah.
But that just it kind of made Obama look a little bit corny.
A little bit, yeah. Why not? Yeah.
I guess it's okay. His hair got so white, man.
Dude, he's I'm sure he's happier not being president of the United States anymore.
Well, everyone was talking about Michelle Obama maybe being the one.
Can we stop that shit, dude? I mean, I heard that throughout last year, beginning of the year, with the Biden stuff. I was like, oh, Michelle Obama's next. She wasn't nothing to do with that shit. True. She was nothing to do with the politics whatsoever.
Hey! Someone wants to be a guest on your show.
Is it a kitty? Who's that? What's the name of the kitty?
My cat. His name's Zillow.
All
He's
right.
11. Black and white tuxedo cat.
I have 2 cats myself.
Oh, nice, dude. Well, you never brought them on your show, though, did you?
They come on their own accord. They'll walk through the screen here. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's very rare, but it does happen sometimes.
You should you should do a little clip, exit out, so I can.
If I can find one, if I can find it, I'll put it as a short on YouTube.
No, but do the clip right here where I can post this as my next Substack post, where it's a picture of me, you, and my cat.
We take a picture right now.
Well, I don't know. It's just like do a short video clip, being like Josh's cat made a cameo, and then I could post the video, and it'll be the feature video, and it'll be like
I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, definitely can do that.
Yeah.
Let's freeze it up and make it.
He don't seem like he likes it though. Oh well, it's okay, buddy.
He's not a fan of
He's not a fan of the attention.
No, exactly.
Oh, he wants a hug though.
Yeah. Is there anything else left on the table? I got I got so many group chats here. I got one group chat where like I have a bunch of my right wing friends on here talking shit about the left. I got another chat with my left wing friends talking about the right. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Do you have anybody like you that's just down the middle who like allows people to talk and then has their wife yell at them about hearing the crap from the other side?
No,
it's just you. So you're like the Switzerland. You're like Switzerland.
Well, I'm definitely a center left guy. I'm definitely more left leaning than ever. There's without a question. I think even on policy, I've moved left too. Also, like with Tim Walz, for example. Like, I'm not a socialist by any means, but I do believe in some of the social programs that can help people. I don't think it's something. I think we should be able, country, to be able to at least provide basic needs for our citizens.
Well, you raise a good point. Maybe this is a tribute to Tim Walz too. I mean, Tim Walz, he's the only guy that was able to get AOC, Bernie, and what's his name from West Virginia, all in agreement. Manchin.
Manchin.
So like, hey, he's the man. Walz is great.
Yeah. I can't stand Joe Manchin for the record.
Well, he's at least more consistent than that crazy lady from Arizona.
Oh, Crystal. What her name is? Crystal. No, that's Christy Moe. No, not her. I want to get it right. Hold on. She's no longer Democrat. What's her name again?
She's not running for re-election either. She's out.
No, she gave up. Kristen. What the hell?
I'll look it up.
Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema. Thank you. Kirsten Sinema. Sorry.
Kirsten Sinema.
Why is she crazy though? Out of curiosity, What's
You know what? I shouldn't say that. That's kind of misogynistic and that's kind of pejorative against her. Pejorative, I guess, is like my new favorite word. Just that she like with Manchin, at least you know where you're at with him. Like with Cinema, like 20 years ago, she was this great environmental advocate, and now she became the last couple of years she became the decisive vote, killing all this great liberal legislation. It's like, what happened to you? And that's the thing. And it's like the Arizona Democratic Party got fed up with her. They're like, you don't represent us, and we're big enough and strong enough that we don't need you anymore. And that's essentially what happened.
Well, what happens if she became big business? She got money, all money, and all that stuff in big business, and she was bought and paid for.
But that's the point, though. Is like with Manchin, the moment he leaves, that seat automatically becomes Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Manchin, he's like obsessed with coal and everything, but he's always been who he is. It's like there's never been a secret about him. About where he stands and what he's at, and it's like for West Virginia, he's borderline communist.
Yeah, she has been described as a moderate to conservative Democrat, being generally socially liberal, but fiscally moderate to conservative. That used to be me, actually, to be honest with you. She has cited U.S. Senator Joe Manchin as a role model. That makes sense.
But she doesn't really follow him.
According to GovTrack, Sinema has a centrist to center-right voting record in the Senate, to the right of Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski.
That's insane. You're a Democrat and you're to the right of them.
Yeah. In 2021, Sinema had voted in line with Donald Trump's position on legislation about 50% of the time. As a result, the Arizona Democratic Party suggested
what website
censoring
is this?
her. Huh?
What website?
It's a Wikipedia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Can you compare her record to Manchin's record?
No, not off the record, but that's like her idol. So there you go.
Is that her? I mean, she made herself politically extinct.
She's not in the Senate anymore. Where's she at now?
No, she is in the Senate.
She's on the Senate.
She's a lame duck, though. This is it.
Yeah, she's not running re-election.
The thing is, this is the dirty little secret about politics. She's off the radar. She's staying out of the way because when you're done campaigning, you get to keep that money.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker didn't spend all his money. He kept that money for himself.
Yeah. So Sinema, yeah, she's her seat's up for grabs right now. So.
Yeah, it's between. It's considered a competitive race.
Kerry Lake and Donald Trump's the female Donald Trump, and then
no, I think the Republican primary happened. There's a Democrat. There's a young Latino veteran who's considered. I saw some of his ads. He was quite good. Arizona Senate race.
Let me see real quick. That's right now. Hold on. Arizona Senate race 2024. Arizona Senate race.
Gallego versus Lake. Lake is the nominee.
Who's that? Kerry Lake, yeah. That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said some other Republican going up against her. I thought she primaried. Remember that.
Let me say now. I'll tell you right this second. I'll tell you. Here it is right here. U.S.
Gallego.
Is that what it is?
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I probably totally butchered his name.
It's right now. Here we go. Here's the screen here. There he goes there. So he goes in there. It's Kerry Lake against Ruben Gallego.
Gallego. So you said it way better than me. I rolled off your tongue much nicer.
I am curious.
I think the primary just happened where she won the primary. It was a little bit closer than she probably wanted it to be.
Curious what the polling is right now. Polling on this right now.
I saw 538. 538 has some good stuff on it. He's winning.
He's winning?
He's favored. He's like a prime example of how all these Senate and House races were well ahead of Biden. And it's like, what's going on here?
Well, that's there's an issue because Biden was behind on every single race that Democrats were ahead on in the Senate. He was behind on them.
I mean,
all right. As of August 3rd, the latest polling from the Telegraph has Gallego at 42%, Kerry Lake 36%, plus 6.
I don't know if it's because Arizona's become all of a sudden liberal. I just think they don't like Lake.
No, because she shit talked John McCain a couple years ago. Remember for a governor race? She's an idiot. She's an idiot.
That's my point. And then Mark Kelly. That's why Mark Kelly could have been a good candidate too. An Army veteran, an astronaut that's like it's like as American as apple pie.
No, I guarantee you, if the Democrats had a more comfortable lead in the Senate, he's probably the candidate. Galileo is actually ahead in every single poll. And only on the one that he's even by in one. That's it. Every poll against Kerry Lake, he's ahead. Here's a question though: does that translate well for Kamala? In the presidential election? Because here's the thing: Democrats only need a combination of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin to win the election. If they get Arizona too, also that's a bonus. If they get Nevada's a bonus, Carolina's a bonus too.
Democrats need to hold New Hampshire too, because New Hampshire sometimes going to be a swing state.
Not anymore. That was a risk there when Biden was in the race. That the polling on that is reversed ever since then.
Really?
Yes. Michigan was dude. There was intel that at one point that Virginia, New York, and Jersey were all starting to get a little weird. Like Biden will probably still win those states, but it was in local comfort.
Well, New York, the New York City suburbs sometimes, it's like all these soccer moms and stuff. You know what I mean? Like New York, the reason why the Democrats lost the House is because of like the suburbs of New York.
Yeah.
So all those races they want to reverse, but if anything, there was a couple seats that Republicans almost plucked off too. Yeah, New York started to look purple. Yeah, like Biden would win the state, but the thing is he would hemorrhage House seats. Same thing with New Jersey. Virginia they actually said Virginia was like a case in point of like, oh, that actually might go to Trump.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that will happen. It won't go Republican.
No, but it was getting weird. But the thing is, if you see deterioration somewhere, oh my God, the lead. Wow, look at this. Hold on, I'm making the screen now. The lead is increased now. So yesterday I did this podcast with Ryan and Big Jim. Kamala taking the lead in the polls by 0.8%. Now that lead's increased to 1.9% now as of today.
Yeah, man.
I
would take a break from this till after Labor Day weekend.
No. I agree with you 100%. But the thing is, you understand though, for that to flip like that on a dime in 17 days is massive.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely unlocked a certain amount of enthusiasm.
Look at this. Look at this right here. So Joe Biden leads the race. Here, where's it at? No. This is Harris. This is Harris joining the race. Okay, well, this is actually not right. But point is, Biden was down three points in the. Okay, look at this. Harris up 2 points in the YouGov poll. Harris up 1 in the Active Vote poll. This is all as of like this week. Yeah, this is crazy. Wow, unbelievable. Real Clear Politics. To see what they're looking at now. I like Real Clear Politics more than anybody else, actually. Now, this is 538, by the way. Nate Silver's old company.
Yep. You like Real Clear Politics a lot?
I do. No, because they take the averages. They take the averages and they apply it. So right there, Harris +2. As of this morning, Harris +2 in the Economist YouGov poll. Harris +3 in the Marist poll. Harris +3 in the Marist poll as well. Harris +3 even against Kennedy when Kennedy's in the race. I mean, look, this is what I get mad at Republicans and Trump especially too. Trump said weeks ago before Biden left the race, the polls have me ahead. The polls still be doing a great job. Now the polls are rigged now because he's down. You know what I'm saying? You can't have both ways, buddy. It can be good for you when it's winning and bad for when it's losing.
So if you have, I forgot how much it is, but apparently he's selling a couple memberships to Mar-a-Lago.
What do you mean?
You could, like, for, I don't know, 100,000 or $1 million, both are way too expensive for me. You could get a year-long membership to his private club in Mar-a-Lago.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Very interesting.
But yeah, the polls are, she's now increasing her lead nationally. And again, the more important thing here before we get out of here is battleground states, where she stands. And she's either closed the gap or she's leading in states now or pulling away in the states that were getting a little weird, like Michigan, So this race is far from over. But right now, if you look at the polling, if you believe the polling is to be true, it looks really good for Kamala Harris. By the way, Joe Biden's approval numbers actually starting to improve a bit too. Also, slowly. I know that has anything to do with
I
what's
think
going on too.
you should run for office, Ernest.
I should.
Yeah, why not?
No,
Move
they don't deserve me.
Move to Charlotte, become the mayor of Charlotte, and then we'll move your trajectory up.
I would not. No, I would not do that. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Ooh, look at this. Hold on. Let me look at these polls here. Before we get out of here, because this is polling averages in the battleground states here apparently, and that's what matters is those 3 states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. The 3 states that matter more than anything else. All right. So right now, as of today, hold on. You can't see that, can you? Not yet. Hold on. Sorry, it's moving slow. Moving very slow. Sorry about that. Let me see. All right, here we go. Get you in here so you feel like you're part of this now too. Also, here he goes. So right here it goes. Here's the New York Times poll has Harris up a point nationally. Look at that. Look at that swing there. Look. So Trump was up big. This is in July. This is in June or July when Biden left the race. That gap right there, and then the minute Harris joins the ticket, look at that, skyrockets. Crazy, huh? And all this in 17 days. Right now, Harris +1 in Wisconsin. Look now, all of a sudden now Harris now +1 in Wisconsin. Trump now since Trump Harris tied in Michigan, but I see more polls that suggest the other way around. PA Trump up 2 points. That's still problematic there. I don't think it's updated either. To be honest with you, it's not updated. So, wow. Look at this. Look at this here. Look at this polls here. Recent polls. Harris +3, +4, +3, +3, +3. Crazy. Look at this.
These are nice numbers to go to bed to. Hopefully the stock market holds too.
It actually went up on Tuesday, so hopefully things are okay. Anyway, plug away your blog, plug away whatever podcast you'll do in the future. You should do a podcast.
You're right.
Every year I do this. Every year I tell you to do a podcast. You're like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Maybe I need you to give me a real tutorial on it though. By the way, I love the podcast episode that you and Matthew McQueenie did, where you're showing his library of books. That was really great.
That shit was so intimidating though. Watching that, I did that whole segment, him showing his like books I have not read yet. By the way, he was here in Miami, down in South Florida, 2 months ago, but he didn't warn me early enough to make time to go visit him and see him because he had told me the night before he was coming down to his sister's wedding. But he told me that he was coming to Palm Beach Airport. Well, hello, number one, I actually work literally across from the airport. Had he told me this, I would have tried to come in a little bit later, but I already had commitments ready. But he was going to Miami for his sister's wedding, but it's an hour and a half away, and I couldn't just get away with my kids. You know what I mean? So, but had he told me days or weeks before, I probably could have made some plans to hang out with him a little bit, and just grab lunch or something, meet his kids and his wife.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Next time I'm in Miami, I'll tell you, or Disney World, or any part of Florida.
Yeah, definitely. All right, plug away with a plug. Plug your blog.
Well, I will. I look forward to sharing this on my Substack. This wonderful interview of ours right here. Maybe I should do an archive of our interviews. You need to send me the 2 that would be harder for me to find that we did without the video. So,
well, if you go on my YouTube page, it's actually dated. I'll date it up, so maybe you can find it.
Oh, really?
I'll get it for you.
I mean, you know what I did from that when I was talking about the generations. You were up on there though, but I created like kind of an archive of books I read on my Substack. I haven't really done as much on that as I wanted to, but I'm trying to date it back for years. But sometimes some books I might just pick up and only read part of it and put down. So I don't really feel like I can count those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what else to plug. We were talking about the Substack, but yeah, maybe you should give me a tutorial and I should just try and do some things because I realized that if for you to get good at anything, you got to just start and be bad.
Oh, I've been telling between me and Matthew McQueenie trying to get you to do this for 8 years now.
Well, McQueenie, I haven't talked to in a minute. He hasn't said do it in a while, but
he's a busy guy, man. He's a busy guy. He's working a lot.
He's a busy man. You're right,
Mr. Entrepreneur himself.
Yeah, that's some good stuff though. But this is always fun. We should maybe try and do this again before the election. If not before, then definitely right after.
Oh yeah, we'll
break
definitely
the
do it.
cycle of just once a year.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely do that, man. Definitely. We'll figure out the schedule, and I know you're a teacher. I know how early you go to bed, but I mean,
No. We'll pick. Like I think I'll be off like one random like Veterans Day after.
I'll tell you what. Obviously, election night's on Tuesday. Let's do it the night after the election. Let's do it.
The night after the election, we'll see about that. I don't know but if not the night after the election, maybe like Veterans Day or something.
Okay, that's fine.
That's literally like a few days after that.
Yeah, let it cook a little bit, right?
Yeah, no doubt. All right, sir. Always a pleasure.
You got it, brother. Take it easy.
Thank you. Yep.
You got it.
Bye.